You found why we are Christians. My name is Kent Philpott, and a weird thing happened. We were getting out of the car, and our guest said they were sick and couldn't come. But fortunately, in our car, coming for the first time to the studio, is Kim Ross. Welcome, Kim.
Thank
and
you.
So we said, we're not going to go home. We're going to do a program. And so I asked Kim if she will be willing to be interviewed, and she said yes. So welcome, Kim,
Thank
to the
you.
program.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get started. Now, give us a little bit of information about your family of origin. Where'd your parents come from?
I think I am sixth generation San Franciscan, Californian Marinite. So
Really?
we're from here. Yeah, my great grandmother was in the San Francisco earthquake, 1906 earthquake.
Was she?
Yeah, yeah. So,
Wow.
Yeah, we're from here.
Now, Ross is what's your maiden name?
Bonner.
Bonner?
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So where did you go to school?
I grew up in Novato, so I went to Linwood Elementary School, San Jose Junior High, and Novato High School.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very good.
Yep.
San Jose Field, I know the middle school.
Yep.
When I was coaching at Novato, that's where our freshmen practiced
Ah, yeah.
at the San Jose Field there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were going to school in Novato, what kind of stuff did you like to do?
I was a swimmer. I swam for the Novato Aquanauts. I was thrown in the pool at 8 years old, and the coach said, "Get her on the swim team."
What was your favorite kind of swimming? What was your favorite race?
Probably the IM.
What's that?
The IM, the individual medley, where you do all 4 strokes in
see.
one event.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's incredible. Great sport swimming is.
Yeah.
Do you still do it?
Yep.
You still swim?
Yep. At the Y. Yep.
At the Y?
At the Y.
At the
Still
Y
swim.
there. Yeah, not too far from where you live.
Yeah. Larry Lack, who was the coach for Petaluma swim team, he still coaches there.
Really?
Monday, Wednesday night, he still coaches. 50 years later, he still coaches there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. We lost one of our best baseball players to the swim team at Terra Linda this year. So you grew up in Novato. Did you realize it was a really great place to live?
It was a great place. It's a great place to grow up. A little cowpoke type town at the time. Certainly still a little bit now. But yeah, it was a great place to grow up.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have an older sister. Yeah.
You have one older sister.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So during high school, what was your favorite subject? What did you like to study?
I'd like to say math, but yeah, math, science. I was a computer programmer.
Okay.
Yeah, in Novato for Fireman's Fund.
What did you do after high school?
I went to work for Fireman's Fund. I was a clerk typist, and Fireman's Fund had an in-house COBOL training course because at the time they didn't have enough COBOL programmers, and it was really, the schools just weren't turning out enough COBOL programmers. So Fireman's Fund had an in-house COBOL training course, and I was able to get in, and so I became a COBOL programmer for them for like 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Was there any kind of church activity as you were in your family, grandparents, parents, anything there? My
grandfather, he was a devout Catholic. So I was raised Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I loved church. I loved all that. Didn't go as a family, so it was easy to break away from any type of worship, which I certainly did. But yeah.
Okay. So your parents, your grandfather, but how about your parents? Were they involved in any kind of religious activities?
We went to Our Lady of Loretto in Novato when I was young. I remember that, but I know when I was 13, I didn't want to get confirmed in the Catholic faith, and that was pretty much the end of going to church.
That was pretty much the end, Kim?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were a swimmer, and so you got married.
Yep.
Okay, tell us about all of that. Or a little bit about that.
Well,
Probably a big story.
Well, the marriage came later. I was 40 when I got married.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were 40 when you got married?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I have 2 daughters in their 30s that are unmarried yet.
Ah. Yeah.
And only one has a boyfriend.
Yeah. Well.
Sometimes it just works out that way.
Yep. Yeah.
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 For whatever reasons. And I think many times it's good to be married later on, when you know a little bit more about who you are and what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about a little bit about that. How did that work out? How did it come about? Or
Well, geez, let's see. I was working for Fireman's Fund Insurance Company as a COBOL programmer when I was 21. And so I was waiting to get placed as a COBOL programmer. And this was really the entry back into a religious life. Was when I was 21, I was walking up to my apartment with my girlfriend behind me, and all of a sudden everything went black. I couldn't.
wait a minute, Kim. You said everything went black.
Black. Yeah, I couldn't see anything. I couldn't hear anything. I was still walking. I just couldn't see or hear anything. All of a sudden, this voice says to me, "This is your patience learning period."
This is your patience
Learning period.
Now, what did you? Now you were fully conscious. Now you weren't smoking dope
Nope,
or anything.
Nope. Just walking back to my apartment with my girlfriend, and not sexual girlfriend, just girlfriend.
Yeah.
So just a normal day, 21 years old, just going home. And this voice, everything went black, and I couldn't see, couldn't hear, and this voice says to me, "This is your patience learning period," because I am, until recently, very recently, the most impatient person on the planet. And, after hearing that, I said, okay. What else can you do? But, just say, okay. And all of a sudden I could see, I could hear again. And
how long an interval of time was that? A few seconds?
A few seconds.
Just a few seconds.
This is your patience learning period.
Okay.
And so from there, my life changed drastically. It was very different. I went through a couple of very traumatic events, and I had to really, actually, I left Fireman's Fund because I wasn't functioning properly. And so I really had to evaluate my life and who I was to attract these 2 traumatic events. And in so doing, it just led up to so many more spiritual events and encounters, and that was the start.
Now you don't want to talk about the traumatic events.
No, I don't.
Okay.
No.
I had an idea you didn't want to, Kim.
No, those are life-changing type things.
Those life-changing kinds of things. I understand.
Yeah.
So now you described yourself as previously as impatient.
Very impatient.
What do you mean by that?
Well, just you up until recently, you certainly didn't want to get me into any traffic because that's not fun. Just impatient. Just do it now.
You were quickly frustrated.
Very,
or irritated.
Yeah. I don't think I was at that time off the charts frustrated easily, but after the traumatic events, those will shape your personality. So certainly with that, I got more and more frustrated more and more easily. So, certainly sitting in traffic was just an
illustration.
An illustration. And,
okay.
I really had a retreat from normal life. And so I left my job and really started seeking the Lord.
You did?
Yeah.
Did you think that voice that spoke to you was somehow had to do with God?
Yeah.
You did?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, so that I didn't understand. So when you heard that, you felt somehow God was speaking to you some way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
No doubt.
So this, I I'm getting the idea, Kim, that this provoked almost a crisis kind of an event in your life.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I don't think that provoked it. I think that was the initiation, really, the onset of my spiritual journey.
Okay. Okay. That event. Now, so flesh that out a little bit, will you, Kim?
Okay.
Flesh it out a little bit about what happened after that period. When you're finished with Fireman's Fund.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So I went and lived at a resort because I needed to be in water because I was really, really stressed, and I needed to. I'm a fish, like I told you. I swam, so I needed water. So I needed to just be able just to relax and whatnot. And so I worked for a resort for a number of years and had some very spiritual encounters, even more poignant than that.
Could you describe one of them?
I can describe one where I had a son during that time period when I was like 29, almost 30. I was like 30 years old. And I had my son, and the father was not going to be able to be a father, and I was just, again, really stressed out. And I remember walking up to the pools and saying, "Lord, now what?" And the voice said, "A man named David." And there was another qualifying distinction with that as well. But the voice said, "A man named David." And I said, "Okay." So 3 weeks later, I came back to Marin. I was living up north a little bit. It was much less expensive. So three weeks later, I came back to Marin. And 3 weeks later, I met a man named David, and we spent 8 years together. And he was really a lay psychologist. He was able just to help me through those two traumatic events, And it took 8 years, and it just to be able to get your mind back to some type of sanity. So that was really really helpful and really special. And then as David was leaving my life, Steve and my husband came into my life. So it was a very nice transition.
Okay, now,
Yeah.
and the years that you were with David, you had your son with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think you told me he's 30.
My son is 30. Yes, he
Your
just turned
son
30.
is 30. Okay, I was hoping I got that right.
That just told my whole age. That's so
Huh?
horrible. That just told my age. That's terrible. Terrible.
Oh well, these things happen
These
to
things
us,
happen.
Kim. So the period of time when you were with David, were you going to church? Were you involved in any kind of spirituality at all?
Church off and on. It certainly wasn't every Sunday. It wasn't regular, but Christianity, yes.
But you were involved in Christianity at
Yes.
some.
Yes.
Did you consider yourself a Christian at that point?
I've always considered myself a Christian.
You always thought.
Always consider myself a Christian.
Okay, you always thought.
Always.
Okay.
From day one.
From day one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you were considering yourself a Christian, but yet you weren't regularly involved with a Christian community.
Correct.
Just so off and on.
Correct.
Okay.
There's definitely degrees to Christianity, like with anything.
Okay. Were you Bible reading?
Yes.
You were.
Yes.
You had a Bible.
Yes.
You were reading
Yes.
Bible.
Yes.
Okay. Watching Christian television at all or radio?
I didn't watch much TV at all. I really wasn't watching much TV at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And during the period of time you were with David, were you working someplace?
No, I was home.
You were home?
Yep.
Taking care of your
Yep.
son? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And at some point, the relationship with David ended?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, we're still friends. We're still the best
You're
of
still
friends.
friends.
We're still the
You're
best
still
of friends.
good friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
there was
Yes.
there was a transition,
Yes.
a change there.
Yes. Yes.
And so Stephen is the same Steve?
Yes. My husband.
And how did you find him?
We work together.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're working together.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so he became help raise your son.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's
Yes.
big.
Yes.
Now, you were involved in a church or two, I think I heard you say,
Mm-hmm.
Kim.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how was that experience for you?
Church is great. Church is always great.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Well, most churches are great. So.
Okay. Okay. And so that experience was all, Christian experience was all here in Marin.
Predominantly, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Predominantly here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I know we had a talk on the way over that you knew a pastor,
Yeah.
at least one,
Yeah.
that I knew
Yeah.
as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
So now, so how's your Christian life now? What's going on with that?
It's everything. I actually am now able to start memorizing scripture, which is, I think, very powerful because you really get to actually speak the words that the Lord speaks or has spoken. And
Yeah.
it's the word. And if you can actually have that inside you well enough to be able to speak those same words, there's a different relationship I think that happens. It becomes much more intimate.
I agree, Kim. I love memorizing scripture.
Yeah.
When I was first a Christian, I found out a group called navigators.
Okay.
And you'd send off and they'd give you these packets of cards with a verse on it. I remember dozens of them finally, hundreds of verses. And it made a tremendous amount of difference.
Yes.
Especially as a preacher teacher.
Yes.
Because they
Yes.
jump right up there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So have you been involved in any particular kinds of ministries, Kim, that over the years?
Ministries. I have my own ministry, so to speak. I have a footprint flip-flop business. And my
A what? Tell me that again.
I have a footprint flip-flop business.
A footprint flip-flop business.
Yeah, so I had a dream. I had a dream that I was walking in the Montesquieu Shopping Center, and everybody was walking, left the words love as they walked.
Okay.
So I thought, that is fantastic. So I created flip-flops that have the words love and joy on the bottom of the soles. So when you walk in sand or around a pool, they leave the words love, joy, love, joy, love, joy, love, joy as you walk.
Ah,
And I also have Jesus Christ footprint flip-flops. So they leave the words Jesus Christ as you walk. And they also have the words Jesus Christ on the straps.
okay.
So that's my ministry.
That's your ministry?
That's my ministry.
And you market these?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
And you mail them out from your house?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That is really interesting,
Yeah.
Kim.
It's fun.
Wow. Wow. So, so it's the footprint flip-flop ministry.
Yeah.
You have a website on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
You have a website. Okay,
Yeah.
tell me state the website.
Love Soul Shoes.
Love Soul Shoes.
LoveSoulShoes.com. Yeah.
.com.
.com. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's complete.
Yeah. That's my ministry.
So are you working now?
Just
Besides your ministry there?
I have rental property, so that's my real job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I don't work the standard job anymore. No.
Okay. All right.
Don't have to.
Okay. Well, so you look back on that time when you heard that voice say to you, and you've become patient.
I have finally garnered some patience. I
Okay.
can sit and wait without anxiety. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Anxiety is a big deal, isn't it?
Anxiety is a big deal.
Yeah, I've always had difficulty with that. Since I was about 15 years old when I identified that I had to deal with anxiety. I'd become a little neurotic. A friend of mine said I was hypochondriac. That's a way of dealing with anxiety, you know. So that's why I went into psychology.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's
Yeah,
right,
that's
yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, trying to figure out just how weird I am.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something I think we all need to do.
Yes, and we're all a little bit weird.
We're all a little bit weird.
And once we figure out that and accept it and start to deal with it a little bit, it helps a great deal.
Then you'd be able to deal with truth.
Yeah.
And if you're unable to deal with truth, you're going to have some serious problems, certainly in your relationships. Because I think all relationships, we all are looking for truth. And we all inherently need to communicate in truth. And we all have radars that if it's not true, we know. You know, we can sense that. And if it's not true, then something needs to change.
Okay. Yeah, indeed. So now you said memorization. Have you got one or two of your favorite verses,
Oh my gosh! In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. That's John 1:1. That's certainly very powerful to be able to quote Scripture right now.
Oh, I love that verse.
Yes.
I that's one of my key verses.
Yes.
In the beginning was the Word. Now later on in verses 12, 14, that the Word became flesh
Yeah.
and dwelt among us, full of grace and truth. And so the Word is Jesus.
The Word is
He's
Jesus.
the Logos.
Yes.
The Logos. The
Yes.
Word become this. In that day, it had a very philosophical understanding that the great ultimate wisdom creator, this became flesh. It became flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fabulous. A fabulous passage. I love the Gospel of John.
And then was it Ephesians 3? I want to say, I don't know, but so that we may know the breadth and length and depth and width, to be able to know the love of Christ with all the saints that surpasses all knowledge. And it does. The knowledge that Christ, the Lord, must have is phenomenal. I'll give you another example of, I guess this probably isn't knowledge, but the other day I was walking in from out my backyard and the Lord said, just sit. It wasn't audible this time, but I'm getting better at just being able to hear non-audibly. He said, just sit. And so I turned around and I sat, and outside my backyard, I have a cross for like Christmas. I hang lights and whatnot. And oftentimes a hawk will be sitting on the cross. And I'm like, oh, I hope the hawk's there. And so I'm looking at the cross and I'm like, no, the hawk's not there. But I turned a little bit and there was a hawk sitting in the tree in my neighbor's yard. And I was like, oh, how sweet, But the Lord being sweet enough to be able to have us see something that we wouldn't necessarily see. But it was like a tree. It was like, a best friend would say, hey, look at this, look at the moon, look at this. But being able to have the knowledge, but the omnipresence of the Lord, that he knows that there's a hawk in your neighbor's backyard and he wants you to sit and look at it. It's fascinating.
Give me another verse, Kim, that you like.
Another verse we have, my gosh, if my people that are called by my name would humble themselves and pray, I would hear from heaven and forgive their sins and heal their land. I believe it's 2 Corinthians.
I think it's in the Hebrew Bible.
Yeah, the Hebrew Bible.
The
Hebrew Bible. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I refer to the Old Testament as the Hebrew Bible.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So now I think you were talking about wanting or thinking about writing a book.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about that, Kim? What's your idea on that?
Well, I talked a little bit about, the Lord has audibly spoken to me, and I think that's rare. It may not be as rare as we all think. There's actually another lady I was watching on TBN, a Christian network, where one of the gals was being interviewed, and her daughter was dying. And as the daughter was leaving, the mom said, "Well, there she goes," and she heard audibly, "And here she comes."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that stirs something in you, doesn't it, Kim? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you're thinking of writing a book on some of those things?
Yeah, because they're important.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. So your family now, living in Terra Linda, and how do you describe your life now?
Great.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Being able to retire and have a flip-flop business.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, you bet. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your son now. What's he doing?
He is in Santa Barbara, and he works in high tech. He's a quality assurance engineer.
Okay.
So he tests applications and makes sure they're ready to go and be ready for the public.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where does he live? Down in that area?
Santa Barbara.
Okay, Santa Barbara. Love Santa Barbara.
Yep.
A very, very great place.
Yep.
Yeah, indeed. So your sister?
Mm-hmm. She's in Tahoe.
She's in Tahoe.
She's in Tahoe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So you got your family in and around you.
Yeah.
And besides writing the book, Kim, is there any other things that you're thinking and hoping that you'd like to do in your life?
Go back to Israel.
Okay.
Israel's a fascinating place. I was there December, January, and just being able to be in the Holy Land in Jerusalem and the Red Sea and Petra and the history that brings the Bible to life is paramount, certainly, to your Christian walk, if not even your spiritual walk, if you're not claiming Christianity. It's just a fascinating place.
Okay, Kim. Well, I got to thank you for stepping in.
You're welcome.
When we found out our beloved Swede, our David, was not able to be with us because he's not well, and there you were. You stepped in, and we've had a fabulous program. I thank you, Kim, very much.
Thank
All
you.
right. So that's the end of our program with Kim Ross, and be looking for another edition of Why We Are Christians. So long.